Hello and welcome to Science Friction, the podcast where we add a dose of humanity to hot topics in science and technology. My name is JC Bells, and today we're going to talk about generative AI and its impact on artistic media and culture. Generative AI is not a monolith, but it is a category of tools and software becoming more and more common in our day-to-day life. These programs are trained on thousands of existing paintings or music or pieces of writing, and then they use algorithms to generate new media in similar styles. Obviously, there's a lot more going on to that, but this is the general idea of how generative AI works to create new pieces of media, such as visual art, music, or writing. These technologies raise ethical questions of creative authorship, copyright, and theft, in addition to philosophical questions such as, what is art? And can computers create art? And if not, what are they making? Although programs like ChatGPT have only been conversing with the public since 2022, people have been grappling with the intersections of technology, art, and culture throughout most of history. Is my job going to be replaced by new technology? This question sounds really modern, and it certainly is, but it's also not the first time people have asked that, even specifically related to art. For example, when photography was introduced in the late 1800s, people and critics claimed it was, quote, the end of art. If you could capture reality at the press of a button, then why on earth would anyone need to paint? Certainly, the art world shifted after that. Painting as a means of record keeping was much less relevant, especially as the technology behind photography continued to develop. However, it can also be said that photography, quote, liberated painting from realism, giving rise to Impressionism and the modern art movement. These ideas are discussed in a recent paper by Epstein and other authors talking about the long history of technology intersecting with art and culture. The threat of killing creative jobs arose once again with computer animation threatening to disrupt the industry of animators that worked by hand.
There was a growing fear that the computer was going to make animators obsolete.
During a lot of the early days, artists were frightened of the computer because they were under the impression that somehow it was going to take their jobs away. And we spent a lot of time telling people, no, it's just a tool. It doesn't do the creativity. That's a misconception. But there was this fear, and it was everywhere.
Traditional animators talked about a real fear of the computer and how it was going to completely make them irrelevant. So how do we picture a future with generative AI and meaningful art? I think that the role of the creative professional is going to shift, both as we begin to define personal ethics and values among what we define as art, but it's also going to shift as we start to define some of the blurry lines around legal policies and copyright, around using generative AI. And I think that's going to have a huge impact on art and media. I don't think that it's going to make art irrelevant. I think that it's going to introduce new perspectives to the art world. What I think is unlikely is that we as a society are going to define what art is and if a computer can do it anytime soon. If you like this topic, you can dig deeper by checking out the research sources at the show notes, and remember to tune in to Science Friction. This podcast was created for CTCH 110, written, recorded, and produced by me, JC Bells. Thanks for listening.